Welcome back to Winning Law. I'm attorney David Nguyen with offices in Houston, Texas. And today we're going to go over the 6 biggest changes to U.S. immigration laws in July of 2020. The first major change is with international students. So on July 6th, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or otherwise ICE, they released a memo saying that foreign students that are unable to take in-person classes at their universities will not be able to maintain status. And this is a big issue because many of these foreign students had no choice because many universities are not having in-person classes due to COVID-19. So there was a big backlash against this ICE announcement, and just 7 days later, the US government, they retracted what they said before, and they said that their initial memo was not going to be applied. Now, the second biggest change to U.S. immigration laws involves dreamers. Dreamers are individuals that are under the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program, otherwise known as DACA. Under this program, if a child enters the U.S., a lot of times not by their own volition or control because they're so young, they enter before they turn 16, they go to high school, or they're getting their GED, or they have a GED, and they maintain a clean criminal record, they're able to apply for DACA. DACA does not give them immigration status. Instead, what it does is that it protects them from being placed in deportation proceedings, and also it gives them the right to work in the U.S. for 2 years at a time. DACA is renewable, meaning that when you apply and you qualify for DACA, you can continuously renew it. Now, the Trump administration earlier on, a few years ago, tried to end the program. And when they tried to do this, a lot of groups sued the federal government. So on July 17, a federal court ruled that the Trump administration cannot arbitrarily just end the program. There are protocols that they have to do. However, just days later, on July 24th, the USCIS put an announcement on their website that they're not taking any new initial DACA applications, meaning that if you never had DACA, they're not going to accept it. In addition to this, they said that if you apply for DACA in the future, they're only going to give you work authorization of up to 1 year. And this is a big issue because right now, DACA applicants pay about $4.95 and they're able to get work authorization for 2 years. So what this does is that it makes them pay double the fees just to get what they were originally entitled to under the original program by President Barack Obama. So what we're asking applicants to do is that if you don't have DACA, or if you have DACA, go ahead and apply for the renewals. If this is your first time applying for DACA, just know that it's a risk. You may or may not in the future be able to obtain DACA benefits. However, if you apply right now, and you should know that there is a big lawsuit going on trying to sue the federal government to accept initial applications. So what could happen in the future is that if you apply for DACA, even though it was rejected, and you have the rejection notice showing proof that you actually applied, you may be a class member and the government may one day have to be forced to give you DACA classification. So that's why we're encouraging people, if you don't have DACA and you never had DACA, apply. The risk is that, yes, you are giving the government your information, and yes, you may be placed in removal or deportation proceedings, but I believe that the benefits outweigh the risks because in the end, you may be able to get DACA, and one day, maybe the Democrats will take control of Congress, and then you'll be able to have a pathway to citizenship. So the third big change that occurred on July 30th, 2020. On this day, our office attended the USCIS virtual stakeholders meeting where we were able to chit-chat with immigration officials. We discovered that, or we heard, that immigration was going to start rescheduling all appointments that were impacted by COVID-19. So if you were scheduled for an appointment at a local field office and your appointment was canceled due to COVID-19, they're going to start rescheduling all these appointments by the end of the year. Another thing to note is that during this call, we discovered that immigration is going to start implementing a pilot program for virtual meetings. And this is very interesting because it will allow attorneys and clients to be in the same room with their interpreters and be able to speak with immigration virtually without having to go to the office. And hopefully this will speed up all of the delays that are occurring because of a lack of an interview. So the fourth big change to U.S. immigration laws is related to the fees for applications. So today, immigration released a Federal Register that they're planning on releasing on August 2nd or August 3rd that takes effect in October 2nd. Now, with the proposed changes, you can expect that if you're trying to send out an application with immigration, most likely it's going to increase by a little or a lot. It depends on what you're filing. So if you're trying to file, let's say, a marriage-based petition in the US, the fees really didn't increase that much. However, if you're trying to apply for asylum, now the government has said instead of being free, it's going to charge you $50. Also, if you're trying to apply for naturalization, instead of $725, which is right now the cost for the naturalization application and biometrics, it has increased by 80-something%. So it's 1,000-something now. So just note that if you're trying to apply for naturalization, maybe apply before October because the fees are going to be less now if you apply versus later on. So the fifth major change to U.S. immigration laws in July is changes to the new public charge rule. So if you've been following our channel, you know that in February 24th, 2020, just a couple months ago, the Trump administration required that if you're filing for an initial green card application, that you submit proof that you're not going to become a public charge or dependent on government benefits. What this means is that if you're in the US trying to apply for a green card, you have to submit the new form I-944, and if you're overseas and you're trying to apply for a visa to come to the US, then you have to submit the form DS-5540. Now, before these new public charge rules, it was very easy to apply for a green card. All you would have to do is submit tax returns, W-2s or 1099s, and maybe most recent pay statements from the sponsor or the US citizen or even a joint sponsor. However, in February, the game changed and the government came out and they said, now we're going to require many more documents that were not previously required. These documents include things like your credit report, your credit score, your insurance policy, not just the insurance cards, but the actual policies, educational degrees, educational transcripts, the health insurance. So it's a lot of things that many people did not have readily available, which prevented them from filing for an initial green card case. So if you're at home watching and you're contemplating whether or not you need to apply now or wait till later, now is the time to apply. And the requirements for the public charge are only kept at bay right now because under a federal judge's ruling, the judge said that due to COVID-19 and the national emergency, it's unfair for the federal administration to require people to fill out this form and submit all of these requirements. So right now, they're putting it on hold because of COVID-19. However, after the national emergency is lifted, you can bet that the government is going to require the form I-944 or the DS-5540. So again, if you're at home watching, if you're deciding whether or not you need to apply right now, now is the time to file. Remember our points 1 through 4 of all the other changes. The government likes to change things on a whim. So you want to make sure that you get in or you submit your green card application right now instead of waiting for the laws to change, because once they change, you're going to have to adhere to those new public charge rules that went out in February. Thank you again for watching Winning Law. I'm attorney David Nguyen, and we hope that you have found this video helpful. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already subscribed, please make sure to subscribe. That way you're alerted to any future updates that we make to this channel. Thanks again for watching Winning Law, and we hope that we have made immigration easier to understand.
At David Nguyen's Law Office, we are here to help you. We bring families together through immigration. And on the other hand, we help you find solutions. All your legal needs in the hands of people who care, who are there for you. We'll take care of your loved ones at the law Office of David Nguyen.